This is 2 Minutes About Time with Luke Allen and Robert E.G. Black, the podcast that takes a look at the film About Time 2 minutes at a time. I am Richard Curtis, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, well, you can just travel back in time 2 minutes and listen to something else.
I'm one of your hosts, Luke Allen. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Robert E.G. Black.
Hello.
And with our special guest for this week, Joe Archer.
Hello.
And so today we're looking at minutes 70 of About Time, plus our bonus minute that we'll get on to afterwards. So, we open with Mary undressing in front of Tim as they make their decisions for the wedding. And she says, "It's your choice." And Tim says, "But he's my best friend, but he's a moron." "Yeah, he will mess up everything." Tim says, "Rory." "Sure?" "No, Harry. Harry." She says, "Harry it is. Let's do this." And so, yeah, she removes her bra. And then Tim says, "Oh, Rory, sorry. It is odd, us knowing Harry as a character, that he actually decides Harry is the best man."
Well,
I mean, I guess
you would expect Harry to speak
could
well.
do a good speech. Yeah.
He'd plan his speech ahead and have something good.
Rory, I'd imagine, would be the best, though. Although we obviously see later on in the film what actually happens. But yeah. Yeah, and I mean, so we see the butterfly tattoo, which was apparently a decision they had a lot of discussions around, because that's Rachel McAdams' tattoo, and they were like, is it within character, or should we cover it up? And at the end of the day, they thought it probably suited her character well enough. It never bothered me.
No.
Really, it's not anything that I'd given second thought to be honest. And then, after he says Rory, she says, "What? That's such a cheat." And she covers up her breasts. And Tim says, okay, fine. She says, "Honeymoon. Bed and breakfast in Scotland." "I'm not taking my pants off for Scotland," she says. And he says, "But it's all we can afford. Take off your pants." "I will not. Take off your pants." Now this will be the point where someone in my family will walk past the door and hear me shouting, shouting the line. Right. And she says, "I want 2 weeks in Bali." And he shouts, "Take off those pants." Yeah, I do like this exchange.
And this is where my note last time about this being funnier later is that she says pants, which is correct in the UK, but she's not British. In Canada, she would also say pants for the trousers, not for this.
What would she say then? What would be, underwear, or what would she say?
Depending on what she was going for, yeah, underwear, probably.
Yeah, if she was really British, she would have gone with knickers.
True.
Sorry, what were you about to say, Joe?
No, that is a good question. Is that has she picked up that kind of lexicon, from being here? Or does she say other British phrases, terms, rather than American ones? Like, how long has her character been in the UK, out of interest? Or was that just bad? Was that just a mishap in the script writing?
I think this is a mishap, but I think it also suggests maybe she's starting to pick up some things, which is good. We don't know how long she's been there.
I'd imagine it will have been an exchange that they'd have had at some point while they'd been living together anyway.
Yeah. Maybe she does this for every time she needs him to make a decision. Like, what's for dinner? I don't know. Well, if you decide, the pants come off. She's like, those are trousers. Yeah. It became a whole thing.
Yeah, so then we cut to the wedding, and yeah, so have you found what the location was for the
church is St. Michael Pencavel in Truro, Cornwall. The little exterior establishing shot of the valley, I have no clue, because there are so many little tiny towns around Cornwall, and there's nothing distinct about any of those buildings in that shot. I'm like, ugh. And then I'm like, I need to continue with my notes, so I moved on. It hurt.
So I do like that in our establishing shot, we get a brief shot of how horrible the weather is.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a little look at the crowds at the wedding to see if there's anyone worth noticing.
Joanne's there. Her father's there. Her mother presumably is next to her father, but in the shot we can't see her.
Yeah, and as we said before, her brothers just don't exist anymore. Right. I believe one of the kids there, or at least one of the kids that we see later on at the reception, is Richard Curtis's son. I can't tell which one he is to know whether he's here. Jay and Joanna obviously haven't met at this point, but they would have done. And so Rory's there as the best man, so that decision at least stayed. And Tim asks Rory if you plan to break. Rory says no, and Tim says, oh no. Oh, sorry, that's as a result of the Il Mondo, yeah. So Il Mondo, and you've prepared the notes on what I was going to do with Il Mondo.
Okay,
there we go.
ahead.
As to translating it, that's good. So the lyrics that we hear before Mary walks in, opens the door, translate to no, tonight love, I never thought of you anymore. I opened my eyes to look around me. And so the exchange when Tim hears the music is, oh no, Dad asks Tim, was that you? And Tim says it wasn't me. And the doors open to reveal Mary and the two flower girls.
Who are dressed just like Kit Kat, which is interesting. Because Kit Kat's got a pink dress and a big purple flower in her hair.
So we think Kit Kat probably had the decision in that.
Yeah.
Also, it's worth noting that the vicar, or the priest, or whatever we refer to him as, is the actual vicar of that church.
Oh, nice.
So is he the one with the yellow teeth and the unibrow?
Well, does he have a unibrow?
Let's have a look. Does he? I can't. We need a close up of this vicar.
Yeah, we don't really see him. I don't think he has. Nothing notable. But yeah, the wed wedding dress is an interesting choice.
That's how this minute ends, and it is a striking image to end on. And I was just like, God! Oh, I want to see now if this is an eventful wedding or whether it just goes all smoothly like the rest of this film.
The wedding itself goes okay.
Yeah.
The weather ruins it a little bit. For the most part. Yeah, I think the red dress really suits the mise-en-scène of the whole film. Like, it looks beautiful to the colouring and all of that, and it makes this such a memorable moment.
Yeah, it's the first time, this and the scene just before is probably the first time anyone's been wearing red in this movie.
Yeah, so it does really stand out, but it is just an odd decision to go for the red dress. So, Joe, what bonus minute did we send over to you? Because I've completely forgotten.
Okay, let's have a look. It's the actual proposal, by the looks of it. It's the actual proposal minute. So again, another massive minute here. She's in bed, and I think that's basically it. And then he makes a little gag about, like, what do you think? Do you think you're gonna say yes? Kind of thing. Any feedback? I think is along the lines of, and she says yes. So again, it's probably it is the most, in terms of lighting wise, it is very dark. It's very intimate compared to the rest of the minutes I've seen, which are very bright and light and sort of colourful and idyllic and whimsical and stuff like that. But this is quite a tentative moment, quite an unsure moment, if anything. So yeah, that's the bonus minute that I got.
Yeah, you've covered pretty much all the all the impressions and questions I was going to ask you about that. Once again, I always surprise myself when I hear afterwards as to how prepared I have been and deciding good bonus minutes, because I always forget which ones they are. So, Joe, if you could go back in time to any moment in your life to either relive it or change something about it, what moment in your life would that be?
I think in terms of my kind of character and personality, I very rarely kind of like look back or have nostalgia or anything like that. I'm certainly quite, young, so I've not lived like a full life where I could think, oh, I need to go back and change that, or I must do that. I weirdly kind of look forward. I feel like I try and learn from lessons and march on forwards. But I think if there was any bit that would be nice to relive, I don't know why, but something that popped into my head was when I was walking from Brighton to Hove along like the waterfront. And there was just something really perfect about that moment of just the water stretching on across the channel. It was golden hour. Everybody was like jogging or cycling, and I was just sort of and it'd been a long day. There's just something weirdly like perfect about that moment. I don't know whether you have those when you're on your own, and there's something really like crisp about that moment. And if there was just like a sweet little minute to relive, it's nothing huge or eventful or about my life. But it was just kind of a really nice little moment. So
I had one of them the other day, actually. Yeah, in part of my, the daily exercise we get, I went out and had a walk, and sometimes there's just something where everything lines up, and it's just takes you out of whatever stresses you've had in that day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a really nice answer we've had, actually. I don't think we've had any...
I'm sorry, it's boring. It's not
No,
eventful.
it's good.
It's not boring.
Like that,
it's simple, but it's not boring. It's a good answer.
And it's a different approach to the time travel that we haven't yet had, which is great. I mean, I think the closest to it was yours, Robert, which was still different anyway. Yeah. So Joe, if you got anything out there that you can promote and tell the listeners specifically, to give a little shout out to any of your projects.
Well, it's we will be this week, so I think I presume this episode will actually be going out next week. But
this episode will be going out months away from now. We're really
August.
Damn.
This is
August,
how many
September.
weeks ahead are we? Yeah, this is September.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so now hopefully, let's think about it. What would I be doing in September? Hopefully making some films. So in some projects that we've got coming up is A Sikh Soldier, which is about a Sikh soldier in World War One. And we look at how he serves during that conflict and after the conflict. That is something I'll be producing. And then in terms of it's been such a strange time because it's very difficult to think what we'll be doing. But we will be mainly getting over to film festivals on 15, which you saw, Luke, as well as Workshop, which is about some guys doing some drama games to try and sort of as therapy for their sort of mental health conditions that they've got, which is what at this current week is Mental Health Awareness Week in the UK when we were time of recording in May. So we've made that public online for this week. But we'll be sending off to film festivals to get the message around the world over the next 12 months. So yeah, look out for Workshop on 15 and hopefully some sort of production of A Sikh Soldier as well. But yeah, head over to Windows Over Productions website or my directing website.
Okay, brilliant. So where can the listeners find you on social media?
Okay, so at Joseph Archer _ on Instagram, at Joe Archer on Twitter. And also check out my directing website. Just search Joseph Archer in Google or Windows Over Productions, where you'll see all our short films that we've gone and done, as well as if you need anything filmed, we're here to do that for you. So just a little search online, and you'll find us.
And Robert, where can listeners find you?
Lemmingdrops.com or on social media, Robert E.G. Black.
And the listeners can find me on Twitter at Llama _Bottle0, on Instagram at The Ginger Luke, on Facebook at Luke Allen Film. All podcasts, short films, radio appearances, newspaper articles, anything I'm remotely involved in is probably available at lukeallen.co.uk. And this show's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at 2 Mins About Time. And they can join our Facebook group to discuss all things about time and this podcast, which is entitled The Cupboard. I don't think we've done this one. One of the goodbyes on here is, I'd say goodbye, but you're not worth it. It's not a very nice way to end it off, but there we go.
Cheers, lads.
The 2 Minutes About Time theme is performed by Ethan O'Mahony and is a cover of the About Time theme, originally composed by Nick Laird-Close. 2 Minutes About Time is a production of Lemming Drop Studios in association with Bottle O Productions.